There is a particular kind of strength that does not look like strength at all. It looks like being fine. It looks like showing up, doing the work, holding it together, laughing at the right moments, saying the right things. It looks like someone who has everything under control. But underneath that, quietly, privately, something is breaking. And nobody knows because the smile never slips. If that sounds familiar, this conversation is for you. Not to fix anything, not to give a list of things to do differently, just to sit with it for a moment and say out loud what a lot of people never say. There is something that happens to people who are good at holding it together. The better they get at it, the more invisible their pain becomes to others and eventually to themselves. Because when the default is always fine, when the face the world sees is always composed, always capable, always okay, there is no longer a space where not being okay is allowed to exist. And so it gets pushed down and packed away and carried quietly into every room, every conversation, every ordinary day, until carrying it just becomes part of who you are. The smile isn't dishonest, that's the complicated part. It's not fake exactly. There are real moments of joy in there, real laughter, real lightness. But it also becomes a shield, a way of managing how much of yourself other people are allowed to see, a way of controlling the narrative, because if nobody sees the breaking, nobody gets to respond to it. Nobody gets to feel sorry for you. Nobody gets to treat you differently. Nobody gets to see the version of you that doesn't have it together. And somehow that feels safer than being truly seen, because being seen means vulnerable. And vulnerability for someone who has spent a long time being the one who holds things together can feel almost dangerous. What happens if people see it? What happens if the composure breaks in front of someone? Will they know how to hold it? Will they stay? Will they see you differently? And the fear of those answers keep the smile in place, keeps the breaking invisible, keeps the weight carried alone. There is also something quieter happening, something that doesn't get talked about enough. When smiling through pain becomes a habit, when performing okay becomes the default, it gets harder and harder to know what you actually feel. The difference between the face you show and what lives underneath it becomes so wide that crossing it feels unfamiliar. Someone asks how you are doing, and the fine comes out before there's even time to check if it's true. Because checking would mean feeling, and feeling would mean admitting that things are not as okay as they appear to be, and somewhere along the way that stopped feeling like an option. The world rewards this, by the way. It rewards composure, it rewards capability, it rewards the person who handles it quietly without making it anyone else's problem. And so the behavior gets reinforced. Stay strong, keep going, handle it, you're so resilient, you always manage somehow. You never seem to let things get to you. And each compliment makes it a little harder to put the smile down, because putting it down would mean disappointing the version of you that everyone has come to rely on. But here is what smiling through the breaking costs. It costs honesty, not honesty with other people, though that matters too, but honesty with yourself. The acknowledgement that something hurts, that something is heavy, that this particular season of life is harder than the face you're wearing suggests. That acknowledgement, simple, quiet, private, is not weakness. It is the most honest thing a person can do for themselves. And it costs connection, real connection, the kind that only happens when two people are actually honest with each other. When the carefully managed version gets put down, even just for a moment, and something true gets said instead, that is where real connection lives. Not in the performance of being fine, in the honest admission of not being fine. There is no script for what comes next, no clean solution, no instruction for how to suddenly start letting people in after years of keeping them at a comfortable distance. But there is a starting point, and it's smaller than it sounds. It's just noticing when the smile is real and when it's armor, noticing when fine is true and when it's a reflex, noticing when the weight is being carried and just acknowledging it, privately, honestly, without immediately reaching for the composure. It's just letting the feeling exist without rushing to manage it. That is enough to start. Because the breaking, whatever it is, deserves to be acknowledged, not performed, not hidden, not carried silently through every room until it becomes too heavy to put down, just seen by the one person who has been working hardest to keep it invisible. If this felt like something that needed to be said out loud, share it with someone who might need it too. Subscribe to The Reset for more conversations like this.